Good morning, students. Today we are going to revise the chapter number 5 of your business studies book, that is organizing. What is organizing? It is the second function of management. Now, once your plans have been drawn, the management has to identify and establish productive relationship among various activities and resources required for implementing those plans. The way you are going to implement, what all things are required, how it is going to be done, right? What is the authority and relationship between the people, clarity in working relationships, that all needs to be established. That is the part of organizing. Now, in the entire chapter, we have discussed all these points, right? If I come, we have discussed regarding the first point was your importance, then we have discussed regarding the process, we have discussed regarding all the structures, right? And what were the all structures? Those were functional structure and your divisional structure. Then we have discussed regarding the delegation of authority and the extent of delegation. We are going to discuss each point one by one. First, we are going to revise the importance. What is the importance of organizing? I have made an acronym over here, that is A, B, C, D, E, O and E. Here A means adaptation to change. Whenever the points come, adaptation to change, it means that we are talking about the changes in the business environment. So what happens? Organizing helps the company, to the enterprise, to adjust itself according to the changes in the business environment by suitably modifying the organization structure. Your structure that is made is so flexible that you can adapt to the changes. That is one of the benefits that organizing is giving. Second is benefits of specialization. Now, what it is? We know that in organizing we divide the work into different parts, and each part has been performed by a person over and over again, so the person becomes experienced and gets specialized in that particular area. So one of the benefits that we get is of specialization. Third is clarity in working relationships. How? We give the responsibility of work to a particular person, so it helps in fixing off the responsibility, definitely removes the confusion in transfer of information and instruction. So it creates a balance between the relationship of a employee and an employer, the superior and the subordinate. Then coming next point is the development of personnel. How it develops the personnel? It allows the manager to assign work of routine nature to their employees, right? The reduction in workload enable the managers to develop new methods, and way of performing the job more efficiently. It gives time to innovate the latest techniques and explore other areas. So it helps in the development of personnel in that way. Effective administration. Definitely, if you are going to organize the work so clearly, this will lead to the effective working of the administration, because we know who is going to perform what work. It will help in avoiding all the confusions and duplication. Next is optimum utilization of resources. Again, in the organizing, we have decided that what needs to be done, what are other resources that we have. So it is going to avoid all the overlapping and duplication of work. It is going to also minimize the wastage of resources. Then expansion and growth. It promotes growth and diversification of a company. How? It enables the company to add other job position departments and even diversify their product lines. Coming to the next point is the process. How we are going to organize. हर एक चीज को कैसे ऑर्गेनाइज करना है. First point is identification and division of work. First, in any business organization, before organizing, even in your daily working routine, you need to identify what work you need to organize, and you have to identify the work and divide the work into various categories, right? Second, now the company needs to form different departments. What all departments it can be? There can be a purchase department, finance department, marketing department, production department. So there are going to be various departments. Now you are going to assign the duties of every department. Which department is assigned what kind of work? What are the functions that they have to perform, right? That is going to be assigned. Finally, establishing reporting relationships. That is, who is to report to whom. That is to be done. Now, after the process, the third point that we have done is of structure. We know that our organization structure is what? It is a framework within which all your managerial and operating activities are performed. Now, there are two types of structures. Those are your functional structure and divisional structure. What is functional structure? When we are going to divide the activities to be performed, we are going to divide the activities to be performed by grouping the jobs of similar nature and all the major functions and organizing these as separate departments, then these are your functional structure. Like in all the kind of manufacturing firms, if we talk about, all jobs that are related to production are grouped in production department. Jobs related to purchase are under purchase department. So जितनी भी similar jobs है ना, finance की जितनी jobs है, finance से related जो जो चीज़ें हैं, उसका एक department बना दिया. तो functional structure में what we are doing, we are creating a department on the basis of all the similar nature of work that needs to be done. This is suitable for medium-sized firms or small-sized firm having a single product or maybe small number of related products. उनके लिए बहुत काम किया है. Who are dealing only one kind of product. For example, Maruti Udyog, right? Or Bata, Britannia Industries. One kind of product is there. If we talk about furthermore, we have discussed the advantages and disadvantages of the same. Let's talk about the advantages. What are the advantages of functional structure? First is functional specialization. For in your organization, for each kind of work, you have created a separate department. Now, person who is working under a finance department will specialize in the skill of that particular function. So that is the benefit. Second is better control and coordination. Now, this control and coordination will be in one department itself. Okay, we are talking about the department within a department. फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट का फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर जितने लोग होंगे उनके साथ अच्छा कंट्रोल कोऑर्डिनेशन बन जाएगा. एफिशिएंसी, इट हेल्प्स इन increasing the managerial and operational efficiency, which will also result in increased profits. Minimizes cost. How it is going to minimize the cost? Because now one department is doing one work which is not similar to the other department. The work that is being done by advertisement is not what is being done by finance. So there is a minimum or maybe no duplication of efforts. So this is going to minimize the cost. It facilitates the training. It makes training of employees more easy as they are trained in limited range of skills. You need not give training of each and everything to an employee. If an employee joins your organization, you need not tell them कि finance की working कैसी है, production की कैसी है, purchase की कैसी है, advertising या marketing department की कैसी है. वो जिस department में जा रहा है, जिस functional department में जा रहा है, बस आपको वो ही उसको training देनी है. So it is at ease. Last is your proper attention. It ensures that different functions like production, marketing, finance, etc. gets their due attention. Talking about the disadvantages, there are few. Let's see them. De-emphasis on organizational objective. Now what happens when the person is performing वर्किंग फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर फंक्शन, तो वो वही चाहेगा कि भाई मैं प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट में काम कर रहा हूँ, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस हो जाए, अच्छे से मशीन्स वर्क करे, एवरीथिंग ना. सो देयर objective is going to be limited to their own function. They are not going to think about the adverse effect of, maybe not adverse, but they will not think about the overall organizational objective कि company का क्या objective था. They will get limited to their own objective. Problems in coordination. Now you will say मैम problems, यहाँ तो advantage में लिखा है better control and coordination. I already told you benefit तब माना जाएगा जब वो एक ही डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर, जैसे फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर ही उनका अच्छा कंट्रोल हो रहा है. पर अगर हम अक्रॉस द डिपार्टमेंट बात करें, information to be exchanged from one department to another, that control and coordination becomes the problem here. And this is going to lead to the intra-departmental conflicts. For example, a sales executive has been said that you have to increase the sales of the company by 10% for this particular month. And the production department is saying, don't do that because we are not having the enough machineries to produce the goods and goods over there. We cannot produce goods. So how can you can increase the sales? So there can be interdepartmental conflicts. Then inflexibility. How inflexibility? We just talk about facilitates training, that it is easy because we are going to train the person in one function only. Now if we want that person to look in other departments, if there is a, say, understaffing in other departments, we want to shift one person to another department, then we cannot do that because he is not having the training for that and would be inflexible in performing the work. Difficulty in fixing accountability. Now, for example, the salesperson say, I was not able to make sales. Now, you are going to make responsible? The production department, right? Or the marketing department? That marketing was not done properly, or the production was not done properly, or the purchase of the quality material was not done. So, whom you are going to blame? That is difficult in fixing the responsibility. Coming to the next point is students' divisional structure. Now, what is divisional structure? It is a type of organizational structure comprising of separate business units or division created on a certain basis. Example, type of product manufactured. For example, there is a company and deals in multiple products. In the above functional we were discussing, that is suitable for maybe small to medium sized firms who are having maybe single products or related products. In divisional structure, it is suitable for large firms having multiple products. Okay? For multiple products we are talking about. So if a company deals in garments, footwear, cosmetics, skincare, textiles, so many fields, then it is going to follow the divisional structure. Let's see what are its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: product specialization. Under functional, he was getting functional specialization, but under product they are going to get the advantage of product specialization. A person is working under a department of textiles for such a long period of time. Now the purchase, sale, marketing, production, finance, everything the person would be knowing of that particular product. Now is greater accountability. How greater accountability? Because in this structure, each product department is treated as a profit center. And now they are accountable for their profits and their own losses. Right? So there is a fixation of responsibility. If in case there is a poor performance or a good performance, they are accountable for their own product department. Flexibility and initiative. Now because each product department has been made autonomous, they are independent. So this will lead to faster decision making. Even if the plan is made, they can change it because they do not need to go to the management and take the approvals, and they can take initiative in taking different changes in the organization. Expansion and growth, definitely. If, for example, a person has taken initiative that and given an idea that if we are working in this industry and we can have this extended product line, we can make this another division in our product line. So it is going to help in the expansion and growth of the business. If we talk about the disadvantages, children, this is an expensive method because now we are having department according to the product and each product is having all the functions. तो अगर एक कंपनी है जो कॉस्मेटिक्स का भी काम करती है, टेक्सटाइल्स का भी करती है, फुटवेयर का भी करती है, गारमेंट्स का भी करती है, सबका आप चेक करेंगे. For each and every product there is going to be a finance department, so 4 finance department, 4 purchase, then 4 production department, 4 marketing department, 4 HR departments. So this is going to be very expensive, right? Talking about the conflicts, there are going to be conflicts. For example, the company needs to decide that which product should be given more funds or less funds, whatever. So there is going to be fight over the funds to be allocated to different divisions, right? Organizational interest is ignored. Why? Because now maybe the manager who is responsible for taking care of the entire product will focus only on his product or her product and might not pay attention to the overall organizational objective, and due to this the company might suffer and may not be able to achieve. So this was regarding your disadvantage of divisional structure. Coming to the delegation of authority. What is delegation of authority? When you are going to transfer your authority, your powers, your responsibilities to from one person to another person. So it refers to the transfer from superior to the subordinate. That is delegation from one person to another. Remember this thing. And it is very important to delegate your work if you want efficient functioning in an organization. Now in this particular thing we discussed regarding 2 points. Those were your elements and importance. What were the elements? Elements were authority, responsibility and accountability. What is authority? Authority is the power. Authority is the right of an individual, that is superior, to command over his subordinate and take action within the scope of whatever his or her position is. Talking about responsibility, it refers to the obligation, to the duty of the subordinate to perform the assigned task that has been given. And accountability means refers to the answerability for the final outcome of the assigned task. That you are answerable. Now tell, you are accountable that this task has been performed, this is not achieved, now answer. So authority is transferring of powers. Already discussed in the class that it flows downwards because the superior gives the powers to the subordinates. It gives the authority to the subordinate. Responsibility flows upwards because now the subordinate is going to be responsible to the higher authorities, and accountability also flows upwards. Talking about the importance, there are few. Why delegation is important? It is very, very important, otherwise the organization is going to collapse. You have to delegate the work. First, facilitation of growth. Delegation facilitates expansion in the organization by providing trained and experienced personnel to take up the leading positions in new ventures or projects. If you are going to delegate the work to other employees now, they are going to give new and fresh ideas and that are going to help in the facilitation of growth of the business. This creates the basis of management hierarchy. Management hierarchy क्या है? क्या basis होता है उसका? हियरकी बनती कैसे है? एक के बाद आप एक पर्सन देखते हो, फैमिली ट्री देखते हो ना, एक के बाद एक पर्सन. तो कह रहे हैं कि डेलीगेशन से बेस खड़ा होता है मैनेजमेंट हियरकी का. बेस मतलब मे बी वन लेवल इट क्रिएट्स. हाउ इट क्रिएट्स? बिकॉज नाउ अ सुपीरियर is going to transfer some of its powers and responsibilities to subordinate. So it is going to create a basis of management hierarchy. Better coordination. You are going to control the activities better, right? It helps maybe to avoid the overlapping of working or duplication of efforts. Motivation of employees. Definitely, if a person is getting work to do, they are getting opportunities to do the work, they will be highly motivated. Their self-esteem, their confidence is going to improve because now they are entrusted with greater responsibilities and they will get the freedom to do the work, right? So that is how the management, the employees are going to get motivated. Effective management. How effective management? Now the higher, the superior is going to share his workload to the subordinate. Now, if for example the manager was having lots of work, now he has divided the work into two activities: core activities, non-core activities. Means important and not so much important. So if he's transferring some non-core activities or maybe routine activities to the subordinate, then the person is going to work upon the important activities further. So it is going to, the person is going to effectively manage. Now both these points are related. First is that now the superior is going to work for the betterment and going to give greater attention on important matters. Now how it is going to help? Now when you have transferred these non-core activities to the subordinates, this is going to help the employee to develop, because now that person has got more opportunities to employees to utilize their talent. This was delegation. Coming to the last point of the chapter is extent of delegation. We have studied two: centralization and decentralization. Centralization, we know when the organization chooses a policy to retain all the powers for decision making only at the top level. कोई भी डिसीजन लेना है, छोटे सा छोटा डिसीजन, बड़े से बड़ा डिसीजन, if that decision is only going to be in the powers of the top management, then that is called centralization. But if you are dividing the decision making authority or sharing the decision making authority to even the lower levels of management, middle and lower levels of management, that is called decentralization. So don't confuse yourself. Delegation means transferring some of your powers and responsibilities to from one person that is superior to another subordinate. This is at all levels of management, middle and lower. We have discussed some of its importance in the class. What were its important? Let's see. Develops initiative among the subordinates. Yes, we know that. When we are going to decentralize the work, it helps even the lower level to take all the decisions which are for the improvement of the enterprise, right? They're going to develop solutions on their own. They're going to, you know, for solving different kind of problems that they face because they know better than the top management. Develops managerial talent for the future. Now, under decentralization, what it does, it provides a chance to the subordinates to prove themselves. How they are going to prove themselves? You are going to handle them various assignments and they are going to do it independently. So this creates an opportunity, right? And this will increase the level of their knowledge and experience. So this is going to develop the talent for the other upcoming future managers. Quick decision making. There is no requirement for going to the top management every time for the approval because now you are independent. You can take information decisions on your own. So it is going to help in quick decision making. Relief to the top management. Definitely they have given, they have might have retained certain powers with them, but they have made different managers at every level that you take decisions on your own. So top management is relieved now. They do not need to directly supervise each and everything. Okay, now they can work upon making other important policies or new strategies and other things, right? Facilitate growths. It gives liberty to the managers even at the lower level to think, because even only they know what is best suited to them or for their department, right? So that is going to facilitate growth. Better control. Yes, it leads to better control because now everything you were accountable for each and everything. You can evaluate your performance yourself, right? So this helps in better control. So this was the entire thing that I created, and which is also called mind map. I've also been saying it in the class that always create a mind map that helps you to revise the entire chapter in a go. You can take a double side sheet and make for your own whatever suits you. This is how I created. Okay, I hope now the entire revision is clear, and now you can perform even better in your test, that is tomorrow.